course I had to look the part. Wearing blue was a must. Blue and white, by the way, because the man who's coming in today at the Social House Nairobi for this show is a man who is well known to you. Re-elected as the AFC Leopards chairman, he holds nothing back. He says it as it is. He can talk the talk. The question is, can he actually walk the walk? Big dreams from Dr. Dan Shikanda for AFC Leopards. Whether he can realize them, actualize them, is a totally different conversation altogether. Speaking of which, a conversation we can have with him next. Chairman. Hey, that's a good one, huh? Chairman, honestly, what's it been like last season?
I can tell you last season was pretty good, but the other 2 seasons were chaotic. I almost ran away, but I thank God I was resilient enough to make sure that I stick around to try and build something. I came in telling myself, if I don't do it, who will do it?
Wait, so you mean last season was okay, the hardest season was okay, but the previous 2 were harder? Why?
You remember when I was elected, that is in 2019-2020 season. Sportspesa left 3 weeks when I was in office. That means losing 60 million of your budget. My budget was 100 million. The only actual money in that 100 million was the 60 million. The 40 was supposed to come. From where, God knows. So now the 60 is gone. The team is in Mumias pre-season. They had just given us some 11 million, the last batch for the year, before we began our year. And you know that money was just used to pay salaries. We were supposed to keep it, pay 1 month's salary, keep it for the 2 months. So you look at yourself, you look at your neck, your neck members, and you wonder, where are we going to start from? Everybody is looking at you. So you're the Dan Shikanda. You're the former so-and-so. You're this and this and this. Do the miracle. So it was tough. That is the time I realized a month is shorter than a week. Within no time, I had 3 pending salaries. So I was wondering, but we paid last week. You're told that was for the other month. So now, putting your house in order for the team to go out on the pitch and play was a nightmare. Remember, football has really changed. These players are looking at you, you're their employer, and they're looking at you for their basics, their house rent, their food, their school fees, and everything. And it's not there. The sponsor has actually gone.
That's a good word, culture. Maybe that calls for an entire culture change.
The culture in this country is simple. Sport is a pastime. Sport is for failures. And that's why you see, maybe we could be having money in the sports fund, but where is it being used? In sports? No. So my nightmare was this. You have to run this team. This is, on paper, it is the biggest team in the country. Your sponsor is gone. You need to pay salaries. In fact, salary was just part of it. Salary, that 5 million, at times it was easier to talk to people and raise it. But at times, raising 10,000 shillings to pay the pitch you're going to use for training was impossible. And it reflects our football. I knocked all the doors, including State House, just for the team not to crash in my hands, because it reached a time, even my members in the National Executive Committee took off. You were here, you were going for a league match in Kisumu. I was like left alone. When I came to town to flag off the team at 6 a.m., I had 3,000 shillings. Breakfast alone was 12,000. I had to go, being born in the mtaa, in the estate, it was at times good. I had to go and lie, I've forgotten my ATM card at home. I was supposed to pay this. So let the team go, I'm coming to pay. So the team left. So run around, get the 12,000, pay. Remember, the team has gone. They're supposed to eat lunch on the road. You need fuel. The 3,000, I put 2,000 in the bus. Make sure you, at least by 8:30, I'll have gotten some money. And 1,000 in the coach's car as fuel. So of course, by 8, you have doors to knock and you have a few things to do. The last 2 years were crazy. And I can tell you, if we survived those 2 years, I am definitely confident that we must change the landscape, the scenario of football in this country. It's not just about playing over the weekend. That is all these teams know. Zero investment, zero. I can tell you, even the Tuskers, the Gor Mahia, the teams you think are doing well, they have done zero investment.
You know, I'm actually getting tired of everyone pointing out the problem. So let's talk about you. You're chairman. You talk about investments. What are you going to do?
You've had AFC Leopards for quite a long time. Do you know we generate 0 shillings? We don't generate any money.
What about the gate passes? Gate collections?
The gate collections...
Kits?
That's a drop in the ocean. Kids, we get it wrong each year in, each year out. We get it wrong. And once we've gotten it wrong, we won't move. Since 1964. What are the basics for a football team? A training pitch. Which team has a training pitch in this country? Don't tell me Tusker, because whatever they have is just a piece of shit. It's so pathetic that you cannot say this is a club that wants to compete, leave alone in Africa, even in East and Central, even in Kenya. The culture we've set is we play football over the weekends. Whatever happens before we go and play at Nyayo or Kasarani, no one wants to take note of. I've been here at Leopards for the last 3 years. We have die-hard fans. But what do they want? The final product. How do you get a good product when you, as the loudest member of this club, has invested zero? You've given me 1,200 shillings per year. That's 100 shillings per month. And you were ready to make all the noise you can make. If you look at the government, and the government to me is one of the biggest stakeholders, followed by the clubs. The government does nothing, the clubs do nothing. So at the end of the day, what do you have? You elect a federation which now comes to swim in the confusion. What I'm being told on a daily basis, you have not won the league, you have not beaten Gor Mahia, but these things have been done by this club. So when they were done, what was supposed to be next? Next, we were supposed to invest in an infrastructure that can make us a football team. We are not a football team. We are just a collection of members
who love the game.
Who love the game, get the team on the pitch, tell them, beat this one, beat that one, then that's it. You talked about the merchandise and the rest. Yeah. You will not sell merchandise when your team cannot attract, cannot get results. So where we were when we lost 17 players, of course, to us, it was a turning point. But to many people, it was, you have failed. Yeah. We lost the players because we cannot pay them. They are disgruntled, they have some arrears, and then there were some other forces trying to pull them away from the team. So we agreed.
What forces?
You remember the issue of start times, the issue of Bet King. I was the chair of AFC Leopards. Same with Rachel, chair of Gor Mahia. Same with Bob Munro, chair of Madari. But we never signed that piece of paper that this is the contract between AFC Leopards and the broadcast sponsor and the title sponsor. We never saw those things. They were sneaked behind us through our secretary generals. So we never knew what was being given, what was being offered.
Exactly. Clubs do nothing. In fact, that echoes Sam Nyamwea, the man who expelled you from football. He said that the clubs are to blame for the situation we find ourselves in.
It's true. I can take those Nyamwea sentiments as carrying a lot of water, because these clubs, we are easily manipulated by who is who in the leadership corridors. The last regime at the federation manipulated clubs, got sponsorship in where clubs do not even know the value of those sponsors, of those sponsorships. And it was disturbing. You are airing 24 of my matches and paying me a third of what you are paying Western Steamer, and you're airing 5 of their matches. Does it add up? I know 1 + 1 is supposed to be 2. It was not adding up to 2. So when you meet as clubs, everyone is pulling from the directions.
So how are you going to ensure, as Dan Shikanda, that when you walk away, we don't have another chairman saying the same thing?
I must make sure I put in a physical infrastructure in AFC Leopards. That one, if I live without doing, I have failed terribly. I know the pressure is win the league, beat Gor Mahia because we beat them last, I don't know, in 2016, 2017. That is okay. But tomorrow, what I must be judged on, if I was able to make sure I put in a physical infrastructure where we can have our training pitch, the team can train. To me, that is basic. We must do that, number one. Number two, where the players can actually relax. We are training here, we are relaxing here, we are eating here, we are showering here, we are doing everything. That is when now the journey will have begun. Let us not lie to ourselves. I cannot hide behind my finger. You're seeing me, but I'm hiding. You're seeing me. If we don't invest, and the word here is investment, the government does not invest in sports. I'm sorry to say that. We as the clubs do not invest. When I'm paying a player 80,000 shillings, 100,000 shillings, and I expect him to go and compete with a player from Zambia being paid 500,000 shillings, I'm just joking. And I was here when Leopards were winning. Our basics were being met. I played for Leopards 35 years ago. 90% of my teammates were working. I was a student. I was a student being paid for school fees and being paid on a salary. My salary, mind you, used to come twice in a year. Because when we play Gor Mahia, that is the day we have a bumper harvest. I'll be paid 6 months' salary. So we are still behaving the same. That time, football was a hobby because the money that the players were being paid was just an allowance to allow them to revert from their workplace to come and play for AFC. Football is a profession. We need to commercialize it. We have not commercialized football. So my work at Leopards, once my coach comes, I will leave him with the team. I will focus on the physical infrastructure of the team because we have to anchor the team there. We will talk about merchandise. We will talk about gate collections. Those are still where we are operating from. They are still very, very basic ingredients to make us be a club worth its name.
Wow, I'm still stunned that you agreed with Sam Nyamweya. What is your relationship with these bosses? Because one expelled you, the other one suspended you.
When Nyamweya was the federation president, I was the chair of Nairobi branch. I was telling Nyamweya, we need to invest in football. We need to bring in investors. I remember talking to one of the parastatals, and the parastatal had agreed to sponsor Nairobi branch football, both in kind, and of course, they'll give some little money. And you say, no, this person should give us money. You don't know what you're doing. We have not reached a stage where somebody will trust us with 100 million. So we let them do their stuff. After they do their stuff, as long as they can kit our teams, they can pay the referees, and they can, in fact, hire transport for clubs going to play and hire the pitches. I don't need any cash in my hands. If that one is covered for me, football has started moving. So when you feel that something is being done behind your back and you've been left somewhere and you come fighting and even stopping such achievements, you're not getting it right as the head of football in this country. That was my problem with Nyamweya. It was nothing much, nothing personal. We are friends still today. He expelled me, not even suspended, he expelled me. But I told him, I've been in football since I was 3 years old. I will remain in football, and I'm still in football.
And
he left me. Come Nick Mwendwa. As I was fighting with Nyamweya, Nick Mwendwa was part and parcel of Nyamweya Brigade. Yes, Nick Mwendwa was in Nyamweya's camp, vied for Nairobi NEC member, lost to Assemble. Yeah? And he was in Nyamweya's camp. So what Nick did, took advantage of maybe the gap between him and Nyamweya in terms of technology and the rest, and actually ascended and built a team now to vie against Nyamweya. But when Nick got in the office, he did not shake out his relationship with Nyamweya. He wanted also to continue running the federation, one-man show, just like Nyamweya, and not involving all stakeholders. Chiko, if today you get sponsorship, that That will be the best thing to come and shout to everyone. Here is sponsorship. These are the terms and conditions of the sponsor. Why do you hide it here and then tell people, look, can you see? Then just look at the name, BetKing. Can you see BetKing? Then you hide. Look, start time, then you hide. Then the teams start feeling there's something happening behind the back. I can tell you, Chairman Leopards for the last 3 years never saw those contracts. Never.